So as far as fiscal cliff talks are concerned, maybe not all of you have been up to speed, but that's why we bring in John Dadian today, right?
Our political analyst, John Dadian, joining us this morning.
Good morning.
Where are we with these talks as far as John Boehner and the president and where they're negotiating?
Last weekend with you, I told you we were speeding towards the fiscal cliff. Now I think we're slowing down a little bit.
Okay.
There's been real interesting sound bites from both sides. President Obama says he's a hopeful optimist. I don't know if I like the sound of that. Ronald Reagan used to say, I'm cautiously optimistic. I like that better. So, the president also described, he's in Hawaii right now, and he described that as a possible cooling off period, which is very interesting. So I'm a little bit more optimistic now that there will be some type of resolution.
You know, John, we knew this would come down to the wire. No surprise that we still are where we are, given that we have, what, 6-7 days until we need to have this thing resolved. But are there any interesting twists that have surprised you even in this debate?
Oh, absolutely. Clearly, this is negotiations, you know, at its finest, and they want to see what other side blinks. The interesting thing about Speaker Boehner is getting beat up because he couldn't get a vote in his own house for his plan. So a lot of people think that hurt him, including all the spin from the Democrats are saying that shows that he's weak as Speaker, etc. There's another argument, and that shows that, A, maybe he can't control his entire caucus, which is bad news for the president because there's about 50, whether or not you want to call them hardliners, related to the Tea Party people, etc., that are basically putting a line in the sand and saying no new taxes. Believe me, that message is getting to the White House, even though they won't admit it. So they know if they are going to craft a deal, perhaps they do have to give. So it did completely hurt Speaker Boehner, no matter what you see.
I also want to talk a little bit about something you brought up, and I was interested in, is kind of maybe a possible special resolution. Maybe they won't solve all the problems, but they'll get you know, people who need unemployment benefits and you know, the middle class who does not want to be taxed any more than it already is. Solve the problems for those people first, right? You said there's a possibility.
Absolutely, and there's actually several, if not many, different ways that they can do that. Keep in mind, of course, the executive branch is controlled by the Democrats, but so is the Senate. So if they push for something, it'd be pretty hard, even if it's an interim proposal, it'd be kind of hard for the House Republicans, which are in the majority, to completely dismiss it. So I think if we take a toe over the fiscal cliff, I think there will be some remedy. People are real concerned about these two things they're concerned about: automatic taxes for what we're calling middle America, and also, especially in San Diego, these automatic military cuts. Very scary.
No, it's something we haven't focused on enough. You're right. That is a big one.
It is. Switching gears here, we're talking Hollywood meets politics. You brought this to our attention this morning. Ben Affleck running for Senate.
You know, the pluses on his side is longtime resident of Massachusetts, longtime active in politics. So this is not, even though I personally don't agree with his politics, this is not a dilettante stepping his toe in. He's always been very active. He was in Washington this past week on foreign affairs. So it's a very real possibility. This isn't just a trial balloon.
Is there a relationship between him and John Kerry at all? Do you know?
Well, he certainly supported him in the past.
Right, but is there, do we know if there's any more than just a supporter?
Well, not really, but again, for his political aspirations, it doesn't make a difference because Massachusetts, several times in recent years after Ted Kennedy's demise, they've changed their rules. So now what it is they appoint somebody temporarily, but there has to be a special election very quickly. By the way, that's not how California does it. California fills it to fill the remaining term. So there'll be a very special election, and when you have a special election, one of the main factors is name ID, and he comes in with automatic name ID. Without a doubt. For example, and I realize I'm talking to two lady anchors, they said this past week when he testified before the Foreign Relations Committee, as he walked down the hallway, all the female staffers were lined up, either for pictures or autographs. So if he does declare his candidacy, you will see a mob scene at every rally.
And he's not the only one, apparently. Ashley Judd.
In Kentucky, right?
Ashley Judd is thinking about challenging, actually, the Republican leader, Mitch McConnell, which is a very tough thing. Now, again, what she brings to it, not Ben Affleck, not only name ID, but the mother milk of politics, the fundraising ability. Clearly, she'll get a lot of that Hollywood money. She's considered quite liberal as far as political philosophy. Mr. McConnell is considered quite conservative, so it'll be the battle royale. I would say Ben Affleck has a very good chance if he were to win. Keep in mind, when Arnold Schwarzenegger, another celebrity, when he decided to run and announce it on the Tonight Show, his aides didn't even know up until the last minute. So we might see a surprise from Mr. Affleck.
All right. John Dadian, thank you so much. Merry Christmas to you.
Thank you.
Have a
Merry
wonderful
Christmas
week.
to both of you.
Always love having you in. Thanks so much. All right.